Yes, we're at Take Britain this morning. Thank you very much, Dan. Just cast your eyes, if you would, for a moment on the exhibit behind me. This is one of the pieces. This is Michael Dean's work. So we have these are 1 penny pieces. So in this giant stack here, £20,436 in pennies. Now the relevance of that number is that that is the minimum amount that a family of 4 needs to live on, according to government statistics. And when Michael Dean set this up, and we're not allowed to touch any of the coins, it is specifically laid out. When Michael Dean laid this out, he put the exact amount down and then he took 1 penny away. The significance of that is obviously that this is not quite enough for a family of 4. And incidentally, the figures in the middle there, the 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces you can see there, his family effectively, and he says the taller one there is his wife because she is slightly taller than him. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the exhibits here. Lindsay Young is the curator here. Lindsay, very good morning to you. This is an interesting piece, and it's kind of like the tradition of the Turner Prize, isn't it, where it asks questions.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Michael's, he's a very political artist, and he's very interested in how we live in the UK, what modern life is like for people, and using this very kind of expressive gesture, showing people how much the minimum, the poverty line is, making that very real and something you can't shy away from. It physically confronts you in the gallery.
Sometimes a Turner Prize is interesting, isn't it? Because it gets talked about a lot, but sometimes for the wrong reasons, because people say they don't understand it. They don't get why one piece of work, Tracy Emin's Bed, for example, one of the most famous ones, gets the attention it does.
I think one of the amazing things about the Turner Prize is that it gives you an opportunity to meet the stars of the future. So, the artists you see here will be the future names, household artist names. Take Britain is opening a new policy this time, so we're going to have Pay What You Can Tuesdays. So people will be able to come down and pay whatever they like and make up their own minds. And I think that's really important. We want to encourage people to come here and to experience these works because they are very bodily. They're works that the artists want you to be in. It's not about seeing them on screen, it's about coming and feeling what it's like to be in the room.
Okay, Lindsay, thank you very much for that. I'll just wander back this way. You've probably seen it in the background there. We brought some youngsters in this morning to have their own little look, and we'll have a chat with them a little later on. And one of the big issues in the art world at the moment is how art is treated within education. There has been some changes lately, and a lot of people say that art as a subject, at GCSE for example, is getting marginalised. So, John's been having a look at it for us.
In drama, we practice projecting our voices out to the audience.
This morning's assembly at St Marylebone School in London is being run by the Performing Arts Department. The theme, how the arts can help build children's confidence.
All you need to be interested in today is what grabs my attention.
First lesson is textiles. The girls also study the core subjects, English, maths, the sciences, a foreign language and either history or geography as part of the English Baccalaureate. The idea, to measure school performance in those 7 or 8 GCSEs, as well as the EBAC as it's known. Pupils can choose other areas of study, including technical or arts subjects, for example.
Having textiles 3 times a week is a good break to exercise your own imagination and initiative.
In maths or English, it's showing you how to do it one way, showing you how to write an essay, showing you how to do an equation, but here it more teaches you what you can do and shows you what you can do and the freedom you have.
And the head teacher here argues the arts are essential.
We believe that they contribute, but you've got to take that long view and be brave enough to prioritise those things despite the pressure to perform in the core subjects.
Some believe it threatens the future of our highly successful creative industries.
This is where the next generation of jobs is going to come from. And if we want young British people to get those jobs, then we need to educate them in those subjects alongside what the government regards as the more traditional subjects. So the two work hand in hand.
The government and those supporting the EBAC insist that all students should have a well-rounded education and that there is enough time and flexibility to allow other subjects to be studied.
Art and music and drama and creative subjects actually help with the English Baccalaureate. So, for example, you can't study maths at an advanced level without understanding some of the beauty and the poetry in it. Similarly, you can't understand creative subjects unless you understand how people have put these things together. So it's not a question, I don't think, of either or. It's about a broad and balanced curriculum for all young people that sets them up for work and study.
The artist Bob and Roberta Smith believes the balance is wrong, dangerously so.
By damaging art in schools, you're damaging our capacity to design the future. You can't be an architect unless you can draw and you can do maths. So we need to create not a barrier between these subjects, but a symbiotic relationship where our great designers are going to learn to count and learn to draw.
The government has high ambitions for the EBAC system and maintains there is room for a whole range of subjects. But campaigners are demanding a rethink, calling for the arts to be central to the rich and varied fabric of modern school life. John Maguire, BBC News, London.
Yes, and Christopher Lebrun, who's president of the Royal Academy, joins me here this morning. He's had his first look around the gallery as well. It's such an important topic, this. Why do you think that art is being marginalised, and why does it matter?
Well, it always matters, of course, but our particular reason at the moment is because there's a new Prime Minister. There was an interesting speech from Matt Hancock recently where he talked about the value of creativity. And I have the full support of the Royal Academicians. It's very rare for the Royal Academicians to come together, but we feel this topic is really important. So we're really saying it's time perhaps for government to think again. It's a good moment to do that, and there's no question that the arts contribute enormously to the country in many ways.
So give us a sense of what you think is at stake.
Well, I'll give you an example. There are school children in this room looking at the exhibition. If you were a parent, would you be prepared for those children to have a diet of nothing but academic subjects? Because there's an important distinction here. That is between an academic subject, which is about knowledge, an artistic subject, which is about experience. And teenagers crave experience. And that's something that art provides, drama provides, music provides. So we're really talking about an integrated, modern education system.
So the other side of that argument, I suppose, is that people say, when you leave school and you want a job, maybe you've done college, you want a job, how helpful is art, GCSE, in that equation? That's effectively the further end of the other side of the argument, isn't it?
I think we have to be aware that art these days encompasses a huge variety of disciplines. For example, more and more digital is important. If you're starting up a small business and 1 in 12 of every new job is in the arts, what are you going to have to think about? Website, packaging, branding, appearances. Now, you could go off and get an expert to do it for you. The decision will still come to you. So if you have no awareness of visual things and no training, you'll be at a loss.
So in a way, I mean, we're at a Turner Prize exhibition now. This is one end of that art, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, this is a certain kind of art, and some people may or may not appreciate it. What you're saying is, in the real world, it has real benefits.
There's an entire spectrum. There's one end of, as it were, pure creativity and free thinking, right through the spectrum to the practical value of learning to observe. And learning to observe is a civilizing value. The difference between your grandmother's hand and your mother's hand and your baby sister's hand, that's observation. It's extremely important. It's a value that's intrinsic. And so just to integrate the arts within the core subjects seems to me a practical question for the government, but doable.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Christopher, thank you very much. Enjoy your little tour around the exhibition here. Dan, Louise, I'm going to throw it back to you now. We are going to talk a little more about all of these issues. We are not being po-faced about the arts at all. We are having a look around the exhibition, and we're going to talk to some of those youngsters you saw earlier, trying to get some of their thoughts on some of what they've seen, some of which, you know, to be honest, is funny and it's interesting, some of it challenging, which you may or may not like.
It's been, to be honest with you, John, it's been absolutely fascinating, and lots of people really enjoying it, sending lots of pictures from what they've done as well at home. So thank you very much, Charlie. We'll be back with you a little later.